So this is another Scientists for EU video where we discuss the science issues relating to the UK referendum on EU membership coming up. And here's a question that was put to us on our Facebook page by a Eurosceptic, and I think it's a particularly good one. I like it, so I want to discuss it in some detail. And that is, he, in this case, said that he fully understands the importance of a common EU science fund, the EU science programme, because where you have all the different governments of EU countries putting funds together in a common pot in order to work on common challenges that we all face, and in order to be able to fund those that important mobility of researchers and also the putting together of international teams, something that's very hard to do without that common interest and common funding. But he said, should we vote for the EU on that basis? I mean, what about the rest of the EU, and why do we need all the political layers anyway? Couldn't we just have a system which is like just the EU Science Fund, something that's clearly good and beneficial without the rest? And I think this is an interesting one to discuss. So let's think about it from first principles, from basics. Let's say that the EU didn't exist, but this is what we wanted to do just with science. We all put money together in order to tackle the common science, research and innovation issues, and that's academic and businesses linking up. And we know that this is great for all of our economies as well. So it's a big win-win. So let's say that this was your original plan. Now you've got all these funds. You'd need someone to run the website, put out the calls for people to apply for it, and then to administrate when they were running the projects and to make sure they hand the projects in, to track outputs and things like that. So you need the administrative team around it. And also, if you have such a fund, then you also need some decision making as to where it's going to go. So of course, all the governments will want to put in their various ideas, but you do need a central team that is going to chair that and propose that you're going to have certain directions and certain aims and ambitions and make sure that ticks off with the various governments. And that's essentially what the European Commission does now with the EU Science Fund. It administrates the lot, but it also designs directions for it. Now, if it were just that, then you would actually have a democratic deficit, and that's where, because you and I wouldn't have any input, any say on that. It would be, the civil servants, which is essentially what the EU Commission is, making all the decisions. Far removed from you and me. So this was actually where the European Union was back in 1979 when they decided what we really need is a European Parliament. And that's what we have now. So anything that is designed by the civil service of the EU, which is the European Commission, that has to be checked through the European Parliament by the members of the European Parliament who are accountable to you and me and the people in Slovenia and Latvia and Germany and France and Spain. And as such, even if you were to just do it around science, you would need this kind of like EU light, shall we say? But this win-win scenario that we have with science also crops up in various other areas of policy and funding. So I think that the whole EU set of mechanisms is good and empowering, and it's just a question of degree. I mean, personally, I think democracy is about being able to, influence policy in the world around you. And as a Londoner, I like that we, vote for a London mayor. As a Brit, I like that we get votes on who's going to be, our government and prime minister. But I also like that on the European level we have a parliament there, and we can vote in people there and petition for policies on that international collaborative level. So I find it all very empowering and a good thing, and I like that we can do policy on all these kind of levels. But that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. And again, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please do.